Okay, the following video is on how to wire a system sensor D4120 duct detector to an RTS 151 or 451. Now this is going to be a dual video because there is also not only, when it comes to wiring the duct detector, not only do you have to wire the duct detector to a fire panel, which is right here, but you also have to wire it independently to the RTS 151. I'm going to show you how to wire it. I'm going to show you how each terminal works. I'm going to explain how to test it. That way you can make sure that everything works from the start or not. Now, to start with, you will notice over here on the duct detector you have a set of relays that are supervisory relays, like it says. What typically somebody would do as a standalone unit is take the aux power and run it through this relay and then send it out to the duct detector. That is something you are not supposed to do. This is how you actually wire it. These supervisory terminals over here actually go to the alarm panel. That's those wires right there, those terminals right there. They go to the fire panel, and what you would do is you would run a two conductor from the panel to the first detector, and then a 4 conductor from the first detector to all detectors there on out. Your 4 wire would be black, red, yellow, and green. And this wiring through your alarm contacts, and then from your alarm contacts through your supervisory switches, and at the last detector, when you switch off to go that direction, you would take your resistor and tie this leg to here, and tie this leg to the green, and this yellow, although it shows it going all the way out here, can in fact just go straight down to that terminal. So when you have your 4 conductor wire coming from a unit into here, you don't have to make all kinds of jumpers just to do something like this. All you have to do is tie it straight down. This is how you would do the 4 wire connection to a fire panel, bearing in mind it's 4 between, like this, and then 2 to the fire panel itself. Now, because you're working with the same duct detector, and because according to fire code, if you have a duct detector that's over 10 feet above your head, above ceiling tile, or on the roof, it is required to have a reset switch either located directly below it on a column or something, on a wall, or have all of them located in a central location, properly labeled so that you can tell which one went into alarm. And on most RTS 151s, you will get either a red and a green light, or a light in the middle that will show red or green, depending on what you're doing. This is how the first part of it would be wired, and I have a video on wiring the D4120 as a panel device if it's on the floor or something like that, because you're not required to have a reset switch when it's on the floor because you can walk up to it. It is required to have one if it's in the attic, because you can't go up into the attic to reset. You go to the wall somewhere and reset it. To reset it, we go to this diagram. On this diagram, here is your D4120, and here it says the 151 it says RTS 451, but the 151 does the same thing. Same thing. A lot of guys will get this confused. Auxiliary out compared to accessory positive and negative. You're supposed to wire it to the aux out negative, not the accessory negative. Your RTS has that LED light, as I was explaining to you a minute ago, which would have two LED lights, which would have a positive lead and a negative lead. The negative leads of those lights wire to terminal 2 internally. So when you have your negative coming over, it hits terminal 2. Now it's because this switch has a test and a reset function, your 2 gets jumpered over to 4 to give 4 a negative, so that 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 will function correctly. How that world works, and I'm going to recommend this to you highly before you start doing anything. Take a jumper wire, and what we're going to do, whoops, wrong one. Take your jumper wire and jump from your aux negative to your test switch on the duct detector. When you do this on the duct detector will go into alarm. If everything is wired up correctly, that red light will come on. Let's go back to this other one, make it easier to see. That's going from here to here, making the red light come on. When the red light comes on, and like I said, I prefer that you do this before you even start running one single wire for a duct detector, because I have seen duct detectors where these functions didn't work. And you will be fooling with your RTS, swearing you did something wrong, only to find out it was the duct detector that didn't work. So jump from the negative to the test, make sure the duct detector goes into alarm, and then jump from the negative to the reset and make sure the duct detector does in fact reset. If it does, you're out of the ball game. Start playing. So you have your negative that feeds your two lights negative, and you have a jumper that goes from one to the other so that these two functions will start working. I would also recommend that once you have tested everything on the top, before you tie anything onto the switch itself, unless you're completely sure, go ahead and take this wire standing out in midair and tie it or touch it to the test wire and see if the duct detector goes into alarm. If you touch it and it does, then touch the terminal 3 or the wire that you have coming. Now, it actually takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires to make a D4120 work correctly on an RTS 151, RTS 451. What somebody will do is they will take an 18-4 fire wire and do these guys and blow this guy off. I'm not going to say you can't do that. I'm going to just recommend that you don't. Because if you do that, you'll never know whether this guy is actually working or not. That's actually the supervisory function of this guy actually working. Or this guy actually working. Because this here being connected turns on the green light and lets you know that this guy over here is actually working. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I already just said do not run an 18-4 fire wire. What you do is you run a 5-conductor thermostat wire. Yes, 5 conductors. They make them in 5 and 8. The 8 is worthless because you're going to throw away 3 wires. The 5 will be dead on. They won't be these same colors, But just follow this right here and you'll be just as safe. Just replace the color combo with the one that you choose it to be. So we have the black wire, which will be the negative for the lights, and the black wire, which will be the negative for the trip of the test and the reset. Then you have the red, which is the alarm wire that makes the red light come on. And what I've done is I've cheated, and I will take my RTS and put it inside of a deep single gang box and get a little piezo siren and tie it to these same two wires. When the light comes on, it'll buzz and they'll be able to walk up to the unit. I realize you can get an RTS that has a buzzer in it, but it has other complicated functions in it that make it just a little bit more expensive than just buying a piezo siren. So I tie a piezo siren from here to here. After that, of course, you have your test function and your reset function, and of course the power that makes the green light come on. That's all this does, is makes that green light come on. To reiterate, you don't go from the alarm through the duct detector supervisory out to the green wire, because this supervisory, as I said a little bit ago, is being used via the fire panel like it's supposed to be. If you go to a job site, you're doing an inspection, and this is just a money maker all the time, and you don't have a green light on, then in essence they are in violation of fire code, because you don't have the visible annunciation, is what it's called, to say the duct detector is actually on. That is a fire code violation. And that's just more or less a money maker. I know that there's a lot of technicians out there that take some of the fire codes and toss them in the trash. Well, I'm just telling you, from fire code itself, that's a no-no. You can sell fixing that wire if you wish. It is an extra option. I believe that I have stated everything I need to. Supervisory of the duct detector goes through the fire alarm. It doesn't go through the reset switch. The switch itself, you turn it one way to test it, turn it another way to reset it. And the only reason why I'm not showing you the device itself is because you probably have the device in your hand, and you don't need to look at what I'm showing you compared to what you have. What you need is the simple schematic diagram with the terminal numbers on them, so you can say there's 1, tie it to 1, there's 2, tie it to 2, there's 3, tie it to 3. Well, this wiring diagram here is just that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires. You are good to go on this part. You can run it with a 5-conductor thermostat wire, or you can run it with 18.4 and an 18.2 so that you get that green wire. Please do not forget that green wire. Or for those who opt not to have the green light, which is a no-no, take out the green light and you'll have a 4-conductor wire here and a 4-conductor wire here. You can either pause this video and take a closer look at this to see how to wire a multiple set of duct detectors using 4-wire, and remembering that it's 4-wire from the first detector out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's a 2-wire from the first detector to the fire panel, 1, 2. You do not need this to go to the fire panel. This stops at the first detector. 2 in, 4 out, and it's 4 out from there on out. The only reason why this isn't showing the black, red, yellow, green is because I was showing you here that this yellow wire goes all the way over to here. If we were doing the 4-conductor, this would still be red here, and you would have black, red, yellow, green going to the next detector, the next detector, the next detector. That's all there is to that. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope this video has been informative. I hope that I have taught something. If not, leave a comment at the bottom I do have other videos on duct detectors that talk about how to wire a standalone, how to wire other various things about fire systems that people get confused about because they look at a black and white diagram and go, wow, that looks like a highway system. This is the simplicity of what you're actually dealing with. That's it for this video. I invite you to look at the other videos, and I will try to post as many as I can on stuff like this to make it as simple as possible. And I thank you very much. Leave a comment as you will. Thank you much. Bye.